All right, class, next lesson, lesson 3, quotient of powers. So our last lesson we did product of powers. Now we're going to look at what if the powers are being divided. So our one property here, quotient of powers. To divide powers with the same base, we're going to subtract their exponents. So maybe you could have guessed that. Remember, when we multiplied powers with the same base, we added their powers. But now if we're dividing them, we're going to subtract their powers. So let's look at this first example in green to the right under my numbers column. 4 to the 5th divided by 4 squared. They have the same base, which is 4, so we keep that base. Since they're being divided, we're going to subtract the 5 and the 2. So 5 minus 2 gives us 3. So our answer would be 4 cubed. So looking at it just in algebra terms, any number that we have with the same base being divided, we just subtract their powers for a final answer. So let's do some examples together. Let's look down below at our example 1. Divide powers with the same base. 2 to the 6th divided by 2 to the 4th. We keep our base of 2 and now subtract 6 minus 4 and you get 2. That's it. We can keep it in terms of powers unless it tells us otherwise. Next, negative 7 to the 9th divided by negative 7 to the 3rd. Keep our negative 7, keep your parentheses so we know it's included. And now subtract your powers. 9 minus 3 is 6. Our last one, we have h to the 7th divided by h to the 6th. Keep our h, and then 7 minus 6 gives us 1. Or you could just write it as h. Either way, if you keep it as with 1 as the power, that's fine, I'll take it. But again, 1 being a power just means it's the variable that stands alone. Remember, 1 doesn't always have to be there. All right, what I would like you to do, it's your turn. You're going to have to write out these examples, A, B, and C, and then try them out. Use our property and our rule. Press play again when you're ready. All right, let's go over these. First one, 9 to the 7th divided by 9 to the 4th. You should have gotten 9 cubed. 4.2 to the 6th divided by 4.2 to the 5th should give you 4.2 if you kept it as a power or just change it as 4.2. Either works. Our last one, same base, they're being divided, so we subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Stars, checks, if you got those correct. Fix them if you need to. Let's do examples 2 and 3 together now. Simplify this expression. We want to write our answer as a power. So normally it'll specify how it wants your answer written. All right, so guys, notice, I see in my numerator, I can multiply those powers and then it's all being divided. So that's what I want to do. I want to combine my terms first. So think of your product of power rules. So if they're being multiplied with the same base, we really add our powers. So 4 plus 2 gives me 6. And now there's still a second step. They're now being divided, so we subtract our powers. So our answer should be 3 cubed. So sometimes there's going to be multiple steps. You might be putting together your product of powers rules or properties along with your quotient of power properties. Let's look at our next example, another tricky one. Now there's 2 ways you could do it. You could break this up and do your division first, then multiply. Or you can go across the top and do your multiplication, top and bottom, and then divide. Doesn't matter which way you do it. Okay, I'm going to break it up into keeping it in terms of the terms that it is. So a to the 10th divided by a to the 6th, they're being divided. So I get a to the 4th. Now these terms are still being multiplied, so keep your multiplication. Now let's do this next term. A to the 7th being divided by a to the 4th gives me a to the 3rd. We're not done. These still have the same base and they're being multiplied. So finish out your problem. When we are multiplying, so product of powers, we keep the base and add the powers. So 4 plus 3 gives us 7. There we go. We did it. All right, slide over or flip over if you have the notes. We're going to go to our next page. And we're just going to do these your turn problems. So I want you to pause, write these problems down somewhere, try them out, and then come on back when you're ready. All right, let's go over these. First one, kind of similar to our example 2 on the front, what we just did together, except now I would do our base first. I would combine these first. So keep 2 to the 15th being divided by, these are being multiplied, so we add our powers. You should have gotten 2 to the 8th. We're not done. They're still the same base, so we can still keep combining. Same base being divided, or it's a quotient we're finding, so let's subtract our powers. 15 minus 8 gives us 7. 2 to the 7th is our final answer. Part B, same thing as like example 3 on the front. Maybe you look back and saw what we did there. You could break it up into these two terms. They're being divided, so let's subtract the powers. Remember, a variable that stands alone really has a 1. So 5 minus 1 gives us 4. And then 9 minus 8 gives us 1. But these are still being multiplied. We're not done. So let's multiply them together. When we do that, we keep the base and we add our powers. 4 plus 1 gives us 5. Real quick, I said that you could either do it the way that we just did it, or there is another way that I'll show you real quick. You'll still get the same exact answer. You could go across your top and bottom, and they're both being multiplied. So d to the 5th times d to the 9th gives us d to the 14th. Now we still have that, we didn't touch that division bar yet. So I'm going to put over, now let's do our bottom, d to the 1st times d to the 8th gives us d to the 9th. Now we would subtract them. So 14 minus 9 still gives us d to the 5th. So whichever way you prefer, both of them work. Whether you do the multiplying or the dividing first, you could switch the order because just like with orders of operations, multiplying and dividing, you can do whichever comes first. It's totally up to you. The order doesn't matter. You'll still get the same answer here. Okay. This example 4, again, going with the trend of our other 2 lessons, I'm going to not waste our time through video explaining this to you. If we were in class, I would have done it. Again, you can try it on your own, read this real life situation, try it, and then once I post the answer key to the notes, you can look that over if you would like. Let me know if you have any questions. We're going to do lots of practice.